people see marketing.
Yeah.
And they think marketing is a slogan or the advertising. Actually, it's not. It starts from the understanding of human behavior and how that human behavior is going to influence how somebody likes a brand, relates to a brand, and does this. That's how also you understand a need that has not been met. That is actually the core of marketing.
Yeah.
And that's what I enjoyed because of my curiosity.
I'm loving this.
Yeah.
So they come calling. You the only lady in.
Last lot, go in, join the business, and spend an amazing 15-year career.
What do you start by? 15 years?
Yes, management trainee. I was a management trainee.
What year is this?
89.
89.
End of 89, 90,
Okay.
yeah. So 89 was when I joined as a management trainee. So I had a fantastic career, was there.
So what does management trainee look like?
Exactly
Where
that.
are
You work in different roles. No,
Yes.
I stayed at home. I was at home. And so I was living at home, which I was lucky at least. I could stay at home and whatever else. So
Making a good 11 G's.
11,000. I've got that pay slip. I'm telling you, I can frame it and I can share it. Management trainee, 11,000.
Yeah.
Hey, it was a lot.
Look at the brilliance of management trainee. It means you're being thrown into all different departments.
Yes.
And
so you go through,
the
for the first year, you go through different departments. Sales was the worst. I must tell you, I'll never be a salesperson. I cannot be a salesperson.
What's the difference between a salesperson and a marketer?
Very different. Sales in a fast-moving consumer goods. Sales, you're the one who's going out, selling, driving, going to see distributors, take orders, that kind of a job. Yeah, that one I hated.
Sylvia Mulingi was doing sales at Unilever.
She worked for me, actually. She was my Sunlight brand manager. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. She's brilliant.
But she was now in sales.
Yeah, she did sales and she loved it. And then she went to trade marketing. Before then, she came to brand management, and I hated it.
I hated sales.
Let me tell you. First, I don't like to drive. I hate driving, and people say, "Oh, you have a driver's," but I said, "No, it's because I hate driving." I'd rather not drive. If I could avoid driving, I'll do it. I do it because I have to, not because I enjoy it. But then that thing of going somewhere, stop, come out, open a door, go in, come back, stop, go back, I could never. And there are people who love it and they spend their time. I could not do it. So I did sales for a very short time. But also I think what stopped me doing sales was one experience that I had. And it's something I've always been very nervous about. I was in Mombasa doing sales and because in those organizations, there are policies, and policies say at this job level, this is where you stay. At this job level, that's where you stay. This job. So Unilever at that time, East Africa Industries, as it was called.
And so I want everybody to get context of this. So I'm a translator.
Yes.
Unilever sells what kind of products? Fast-moving consumer.
Everything. Blue Band, Omo, those days, Kimbo, Vaseline.
Wow.
Those were all our brands, right?
So you have
Key soap, you name
the
it.
whole of Kenya.
All those days,
your product.
East Africa Industries was everybody. There's no home. Satin Sheen for your hair, Lady Gay for the lotion, But the biggest ones, which everybody knows, and I've transgressed time, are Vaseline, which is still there. Blue Band, which they sold. Unilever only sold a few years ago, but it was always in the portfolio. Kimbo and Cowboy.
What?
Kimbo, Cowboy, those things, And those were being rationed those days because we couldn't make enough. Omo.
What?
I launched Sunlight. That's one of the biggest brands that I launched during my time was Sunlight. Fair and Lovely was another big one that I launched during my time. But those were all the brands you did. So now, I'm a salesperson in Mombasa. Young girl, 22, 23.
What?
You go to, what do you call this place? You're in Mombasa. Level is your management trainee, lowest tier. This is where you stay. You can't go stay in Nyali Beach. Nyali. You can't stay at Nyali or, these other posh hotels by the beach. You have to stay in the ones in town. And the one in town that was selected was Castle. I don't know if you remember a hotel called Castle.
No,
in the middle of you see, you guys, you're in generation. So in the center of Mombasa, there was a hotel called Castle, which was notorious. Because it was notorious. Let's put it that way. It was called Castle. It was one of those, one of those where everything happens. Business happens. Yeah. Business.
Yes.
It had a business. All foreigners who come, all the locals, and there was lots of the old tradition business
Yes.
there. Now you are a young girl, you're staying there, but you're working.
Wow.
And I go up to my room after you come in, you park, then you go up to your room and, lock the door, whatever. But what you didn't realize was that the receptionist people also used to have deals. Because, as you walk to your room, there's a veranda there. And there are guys, there'll be people looking at who comes in, whatever. So I think they go and they ask, who's that one, whatever. Next thing I'm hearing a knock on my door. I'm like, who there? What is that? What is that? And I pretend I'm not going to pick. I'm not going to answer that door. And who's there? And then somebody says, can I come in? I'm like, what the hell? So start putting things on your door because I'm not going to sleep here. Because how do you know that they don't? And I think it developed from that time. There are two experiences in hotel rooms, which I always train women now. And I tell them as anytime you're in a hotel room, all the secure. And these days there are lots of TikToks and YouTube things about security in hotel rooms. It was so frightening because he was trying the door. He was opening the door. I screamed, did everything open. So that was my first experience. And after that, I went back to the business. I'm not staying there again. I'm not going to do sales. If I have to work there, I'm not going to stay in that hotel. Either I go to the beach or somewhere in security, but I'm not going to stay at Castle anymore because I can't deal with that. I mean, I nearly had a heart attack.
Yeah.
That
it could have been bad.
It could have been, yeah. Yep. So I that one, I say security. That's why when I'm in a hotel room, I look under the door, I look under the bed 5 times and in the cupboards before I go in. Because I had a second experience. Also, when I was young, I'd gone to South Africa for a meeting and there was a hotel with a long corridor and I'm there innocently walking. I get to my door, right? And as I turn, there's this big Boer guy who's standing there. And I'm like, I just managed to push the door closed, put the lock and scream and do whatever. But then, of course, he took off. And so I tell myself, first of all, I'll never stay in a hotel that doesn't have a chain lock. I'll never press the lift first. If I'm in a lift with just men, whatever, I'll just wait for all of you guys to press first. And then I'll press a different floor that you're not in. And then I can come back. If we're all going onto the same floor, I can walk out and then I come back and say, oops, I forgot something. Go back into the lift.
Wow.
I will not. These are the secure things. I never stay a corridor at the end because then you can't turn back. Where are you going to go back to if you reach the end? So there's just so many things that I learned. And that's why I say that sales experience for me.
It's different being a guy.
Yeah, that sales experience for me, I was like, hell no. Other than the fact I hate driving, coming in, that pickup, closing the door, going with a book, and you had a big book and we had so many products. Imagine Key Soap had like 6 sizes and somebody say, 10 gram weka tano, yo weka kumi. 500 weka Kimbo uko na packet weka 100 gram. It was I honestly Richie, I couldn't do it.
But here's what I'm also
sales
hearing.
For me, I couldn't do it.
Two things. One, you have the fundamentals of sales. So you know what I mean? Like me, I may not use me, but let me say, some people don't like sales because they're not good at convincing people to buy the product. That's not your issue. Your issue is all these other things that it comes with. I can't convince people. I can't. I mean, I can convince you. Yeah. If I want to convince you something, I'll do it. But it's just the mundaneness of it. I understand what you, because I'm creative. That's where you're creative.
Oh, my creative side. I can't do repetitive things.
I fully understand it.
Let me tell you, the easiest way to kill me, make me do a repetitive job. I can't. Honestly, tell me, Patricia, today you're going to sit here, put this bead in, out again, in it. I'll just tell you, thank you very much.
I'm out.
I'm gone. I'm done. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I feel you completely.
Yeah, I can't do it. Yeah.
Okay, so what other department do you go into?
Then I went to brand management and I stayed into marketing. I discovered marketing and I loved it.
So that was my before that moment of time, your mind and marketing had never...
I knew I loved it because I did it in college. That's what I did. So I loved it and I wanted to go into it.
Did you graduate?
With?
Did you graduate?
With what? Of course I graduated. Should I send you my graduation picture? Not a fake one. From those times, it's even got, sepia tone, which shows, it's from those days, It's not one of fabrication and it's not
I know what you're about to say. I saw where you were headed. You want to take a jab at
And I'm gonna take it. It's not one of those. What are the looks they have these days? Nah. It's not. It's not a. Why have I gone blank when you do different looks and feels on photos?
Yes,
it's not a
filters.
It's not a filter.
Yeah.
No filter. The real McCoy can even bring you the photo.
Take a photo with the photo.
I can take a photo with a photo. I'm telling you. Yeah.
So you had an inclination towards marketing, but then now you get into the place, and companies don't do that these days, do they? Management internship where they throw people into different.
No, they do.
They do.
I mean, I'm recruiting now, and you'll do a few things if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm recruiting trainees now.
I like
trainee jobs have always been like that.
Okay.
The idea is for you to come. You might have an area that you enjoy and that you like, but you have to come and experience other things, because that's how you broaden somebody. That's how you get somebody to experience a company and figure out what's really going to be their fit. In fact, when you do a management trainee, it's much better. But Unilever those days were the most brilliant. Let me tell you, if there was ever a university of working life, it is Unilever. Everything I know, the experiences, the learning, I kid you not, was Unilever, because they had a structured program. You went from this, you went to that, you went to that.
Oh, nice.
At this level, you get. So if you have potential, if you're deemed high potential, then you go to this next level of programs that you have to do. And that's how I stayed there that long, because I was really developed. Yeah. So I worked in the UK. And then, yeah.
When you work at the, where were the offices that you were going to?
Industrial area.
Yeah. So still from Loresho?
Yes.
Driving every day like that?
Yes.
Then you find your home in brand?
Yes, in brand. I loved it.
Okay.
I loved
Still
brand.
as a management trainee?
Management trainee, and then I became an assistant brand manager quite quickly. Yeah, I actually didn't finish my management training program because I was given a job straight away as a brand manager, assistant brand manager.
So they saw you.
Pulled out.
What is it that they saw in you that made you?
I mean, I loved it. I mean, I could see things. I think there was a bit of me that enjoyed. I think I always say I'm a very curious person. To be a good marketer, you have to be curious. You have to be curious about people. You have to, because that's where you get insights. People see marketing, and they think marketing is a slogan or the advertising. Actually, it's not. It starts from the understanding of human behavior and how that human behavior is going to influence how somebody likes a brand, relates to a brand, and does this. That's how also you understand a need that has not been met. That is actually the core of marketing. And that's what I enjoyed because of my curiosity. I'm the kind of person who can sit somewhere by myself, very comfortably by myself, and eavesdrop.
People watch,
eavesdrop. What's the eavesdropping? My children just keep kicking me. Mom, stop looking at people up and down like that. I'm like, was I? And then you start managing your eyes. But by then they've gone up and down, they've checked the shoe, they've looked. It's a nice pair of shoes. I don't know where they got those shoes. Should I ask them? Don't you dare go and ask them where they got that. Yeah, but I'm like that. I'll sit in a restaurant and I'll listen. At times we've been places. And that's, I think, the essence of marketing, where we're sitting on a table and there's this couple next. And as we're going home, I'm like, hey, that poor guy, man. That woman is really giving him. She's really giving him. I mean, that relationship. I don't know. They just listen to me. They're like, Mom, hold up. Were you eavesdropping? I said, I wasn't eavesdropping.
I was researching.
I was listening. I mean, I wasn't listening. I just heard. I mean, this conversation, I just looked in her eyes. I looked at his, and, and they're like, there you are again. So it's that curiosity that allows you to understand. And that's what I loved. Okay. So I'd go there and we're creating stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't think that's going to work. The way we're telling that story or the way we're going to project it, I don't think it's going to work because, if you tell me that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy into it. Yeah. So I think that's what I started to enjoy and I loved it. Yeah.
So you became assistant
brand manager.
Did you have people now under you? Are you beginning to manage other people?
No, not quite. Not yet, huh? Time. No.
Okay.
Brand manager, you don't. You're managed.
but okay. Oh yes, and these products are internal.
Yeah,
so it's not
internal.
Okay,
you're working with guys and everything else. Yes.
Next, so what's the next stage from there?
So
When do you move out?
so from there, then when did I move house? I moved house just before I got married. I got into an apartment. And moved out, and then got married. When we got married, we got married then, and then we went to the UK straight away because my husband had a job with. He was given an opportunity through the British Chamber of. Is it Chamber of Engineers, Construction, or something like that, to work in the UK. And then Unilever, being the people they are, they also then got me an opportunity in the UK since I was going there. So we went to the UK, we're there for a year.
But is this after the what's the time? Brand assistant?
Brand manager. I was brand manager.
Sorry,
so
brand manager. Then next
it was 4 years. I'd worked for 4 years when I went. To the UK. It was 4 years.
But did you rise up the ranks within that 4 years?
Yeah. I rose. I was assistant, then brand manager. Then went to the UK, came back. I was made a marketing manager, which is the next level.
All this time?
Yes. Then became a marketing manager, worked as a marketing manager. Then went to South Africa. Ran.
I know. I'm slowing you down just a bit. I'm just trying to understand what's making you. So even before you go to the UK, what's this thing that they're seeing with you that's making you rise up? Because
I think I speak, I talk, I don't keep quiet. Let me tell you the other thing I tell people about in businesses. If you're invisible, and there are lots of people in an organization and they say, but I'm doing my job. Oh, but I'm getting on. I say, but you're doing it, but you're invisible. You assume. Don't always assume your work is going to speak for you, because there's some jobs and work that don't speak for you. You have to become visible, right? And you have to figure out where are the points that allow you to become visible.
Yes.
Every time you have an opportunity, you're sitting there around the table and you're sitting there thinking, oh, but maybe I'm in the factory, we're not supposed to talk. Hell no, you talk, right? Or you're in a meeting room and say, oh, but I'm a little brand manager, I cannot. No, you talk, right? You have all these honchos coming in from wherever, and you've got a marketing manager who's decided she's going to do all the talking. Fine, fair enough. When the moment comes, you stand up and you talk. And you make sure you know your stuff.
Yes.
Right? That is what you have to do. Visibility is so key in a business. Visibility is so key in anything that you do. And there are lots of people say, I'm modest, I'm shy, I'm an introvert. Fine. That is okay. But find ways and opportunities and places that lend themselves to your personality for you to become visible.
Wow.
Yeah, because you cannot say that I will be seen. Actually, you won't. Right? And sure, people after a while are able to pick out the empty vessels that are making a lot of noise. Sure. But you have to find a way of having your voice heard in whatever you do if you're to rise anywhere. And it's the same, and I'll speak to women who want to go on boards and whatever else, the ones I mentor. I sit down and say, how do people know? If you haven't told anybody. I mean, there's no magic. There's nobody looking at a crystal ball or tea leaves and saying, I've seen your name here, let me pull you out. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So you have to find a way of making yourself visible and letting people know you exist and what you stand for and why to make sense for them to choose you. So I've always been visible in an organization.
In this visibility, I really like, I've also had Just Ivy here, and she said she asked for a promotion.
Yeah.
Did you ever ask for a promotion?
I used to. I'd speak to it and justify part of the reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't just expect to get promoted?
No. But then also there was a pathway. It's not just asking for the promotion. I think for me, the arts that I learned is to sit down and ask, if I want to do this, what is it going to take? It's easier to ask it that way.
I get it.
Then you work through the things that you're doing, as opposed to say, I want a promotion. Somebody's going to say, based on? Tell us why. Yeah, we know you want it. If we knew you deserved it, we'd have given it to you.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you've agreed and sat down and said, okay, I want to be this, what is it going to take? So my vision, Unilever, was always to become an executive director, to join the directors, right?
Wow.
To become a director. And, like marketing director, there'd never been an African marketing director.
For real.
Those days, yeah. Never mind a woman in Kenya. It didn't matter. My predecessor, Pauline, beat me to it, but I was the second one. I came immediately after her. And, I guess we've never looked back since, because she became when I went to South Africa, and then I came from South Africa and I took over from her.
Yeah.
But the point is, I sat down and I asked, what is it going to take
for me to get to?
And they said, you need to do these experiences. You need to have international exposure.
Yes.
And for women, the first thing when they say international exposure, you're like, oh, what does that mean? Especially if you are in a relationship of some sort. That's what in those days used to bog a lot of women down, because how are you going to go? All the men went. There was no even conversation in those days. The guys, you're told, oh, there's a job here. Oh, okay, fine. You go home and say, we're going, right? And poor wife, has to pack up, leave, do whatever it is, or figure out what she has to do, and they follow. Now, as a woman who's married, and you've got babies, now you sit down. So I was very clear. They said, you need to have international exposure, you need to do this. So in my head, I had to figure out, how am I going to do that? How was I going to manage?
What does the path look like?
What's going the path look like? What is it going to take to do that? Unfortunately, I think having a very supportive partner, spouse, I said, this is what it's going to take for me to do that. Thought about it against the grain, against many people saying, how do you just let your wife go? How do you let this, with babies? I went to South Africa with a 5-month baby and a 2-year-old on my own.
Whoa.
That's the time I went. Mind you, I was doing a regional role where I was traveling a lot.
Joburg?
I was in Durban. Yeah. And I had to, but that is where you think through it. What is it going to take? What are the things? What are the policies we can change? I started to shift the policy so that they changed the policy from making it an expatriation means you only have 1 home visit a month. I said, well, my husband is not coming. He's not staying, he's not going to come. How do we convert some of those? So they adjusted it and they said, okay, we're going to give him a ticket a quarter. Got to be ticket a quarter, then he's able to join the family. Now, because I'm also traveling regionally, it was very easy because I'll just bundle my babies. All my transit would be through Nairobi. KQ those days was KQ. Yes. It was a spoke. When we talk about hub and spoke,
what year is this?
I was there 99 to 2002.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Just did over 3 years. Yeah. So it grows you, does a lot of things. But as I said, I asked, what is a pathway?
I hear that.
And once I was clear was a pathway, you make it happen. I couldn't have come up and said, now I want to be promoted. They sit down and say, okay, but you didn't ask us what it's going to take, right? What are the things? And that's what you always have to ask.
And that means you therefore begin to, this pathway had sacrifices.
Yes.
And you've just named one of
one of the things, yes, one of the sacrifices you have. Well, sacrificing the things you need to do to get there,
So, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now we've entered a different chapter of your life where there's so much wealth. All of this other stuff that we've talked about from the day you're born until here, it's sort of to build context to people that you're not this perfect being. You've come from somewhere. This was your life journey. You've also had your ups and downs in life.
Yeah.
But now we're entering into your career and your trajectory for growth to get to where it is that you are. So I want us to keep the same pace, just because you're rare. You're a unicorn in this space.
Oh, really? Thank
you. You marketing, the marketing world is filled with a lot of women right now. In fact, it's weird because the space, I also look and say, hey, there's now more women than men. Dudes,
oh yeah, they are.
Dudes, what's going on?
Yeah. Marketing and HR became the function that women just deviate.
Like the digital marketing rooms that I enter, I never see a dude. It's just, it's crazy. But, so, first of all, I'm hearing you enter Unilever. I'm hearing about how you're growing. But I love the fact that you've already said this first point of, you were cognizant enough to say, first of all, to have a vision. To say, I want to get to here. And then now begin doing the path. What year is this so before, I want to now talk about you going to London.
London was very young. I was very young because I just got married.
So you
very,
got
very young in my
what year
career.
did you get married?
Hey, it's a long time ago. 94.
Oh, you've been married for 30 years.
31. It's going to be 31 this year,
Hey, you're a ninja. Congratulations.
It's a long time. Oh my gosh, it's a long time.
I know in this day and age to hear that people have been married for that long, it's actually...
It is. Oh my goodness. It's a long time.
Wow. And where did you meet?